Hi Sprouts, welcome back to my channel. I woke up 15 minutes ago and I felt like making a video because I find myself comparing to everything that happens around me and about me all the time now. I need to get it out there like each and every video that I make, apart from luck maxing, which I'll talk later about in this video. I also do it as a reminder for myself, like I rewatch those videos for myself because I feel like you can learn a lot from the past versions of you, even if that version was 15 minutes ago. Because you might have had a thought that would serve as a motivational thought for the version of you that it is now. So, going back to me comparing myself a lot nowadays to everything that happens around me, I have watched, I think, approximately 1,000 videos on how to stop comparing yourself. Because when your identity growing up is rooted in comparison of you being better or worse than other people, then I feel like, well, the light didn't do anything. Let me just switch. When your identity is rooted in comparison, one starts believing that that's the only way to go. The only metric that one should rely on is if they're better than the other people around them or not. I used to solely believe in this metric until and unless I started fostering some sort of critical thinking inside of me. And I've realized that it is very easy to say, like, people are on different journeys, people are on different paths, people are on a whole different timeline than you. Usually that is the case. Whenever I watch these videos, I see this fundamental topic which revolves around everything being different from whatever is happening to you. Although it seems similar, maybe you guys are classmates, maybe you guys are roommates, maybe you guys are cousins, but you have a whole different life as compared to your cousin or your roommate or your classmate, which is true, which is not wrong. But I do feel like it's a very George Orwell kind of theory. What do I mean by that is, like, how George Orwell pointed out all of these terms and words that describe the dystopia in our world. However, George Orwell never provides a solution. Not like I want a fictional book to provide a solution, although it doesn't seem fictional anymore, but like I genuinely don't expect a fictional book to provide any sort of solution to a dystopian world or something. But the reference was only to establish the fact that in those videos, at least the ones that I watched, the problem is highlighted really well, which is us comparing ourselves to others, and the solution being to stop doing that, essentially. And I think instead of how to stop comparing yourself to others, the theme circumnavigates around how to, or rather, why to stop comparing yourself to others. I believe there is no particular way one can truly stop comparing oneself to others. Like, it's sort of like a heat engine efficiency. Like, you will always compare. I will always compare. They'll always compare. But what we can do is that for us to not lose our mental sanity doing so, we can actually incorporate not having envy and jealousy when we compare to others. I have inculcated it a lot in my life by looking at others and comparing myself to them, but that feeling being inherently rooted in inspiration rather than jealousy or envy. I know people, for example, I have a junior, she crochets really well. My sister used to crochet really well. And I have always wanted to try my hands on crocheting, but I did not get the time. That's such a bad thing to say, but like I couldn't do it for some reason or the other. I kept delaying it. And I realized there are crocheters who will always be better than me. And there are crochet people who are just like me and they're starting out now. And even then, they'll be better than me. Even if we start out at the same time with the same level of skill. And that's okay. I've learned that that feeling can be rooted in inspiration. Now that is something that I spoke about in my previous video as well. So what makes this different? Like how do you actually like go about getting inspiration from others around you instead of being envious of them or being jealous of them? And here's where I would say hobby maxing kicks in. I do so many different things. I have this YouTube channel. I write. I don't essentially write like books or anything. I just write poems. And I feel they are very expressive. I don't know if they're good or bad. I cannot put a label to my writing, but they're very expressive. I read a lot. I happen to play a few instruments. Again, not at all good at any of them. I solve the Rubik's Cube in my free time. I research a lot about the geopolitical situation of the country and the world in general. And I like it when I discover a new fact on when like a particular fact or like a particular piece of information solidifies or absolutely ruins my idea of a geopolitical scenario. I love it. I love talking about it. Maybe not here, but definitely in real life. I love taking walks. I love doing my makeup before going to college. It is just a blush and a lip liner and a lip gloss, but I love experimenting with it. It gives me so much joy. It gives me so much peace. It adds such whimsy to my life. Like, आज कौन सा lip gloss use करूँ, कौन सा lip liner? It's like as trivial as that. And I love collecting jewelry, not essentially hoarding it. I don't know how to say it. It's like if I have something of a particular type, that analogy, like if I like it, I'll just buy it in a different color. I am not like that. I like hoarding pieces that serve as memorabilia of where I had been, with whom I have been, had been, sorry. And I have little trinket boxes from different places which hold little pieces of jewelry, and I can individually let people know the story of how I acquired it, where did I acquire it, with whom did I go there to acquire it, and why did I acquire it. They are little pieces of art that I like to collect. Basically, everything that I do, I hobby max. I cannot essentially count buying or consumerism being a hobby, but I'm just saying, just for the sake of putting it out there. I hobby max, and this is exactly how I stop comparing myself in an envious way to others. What I mean by that is when one does only one thing and their entire identity is rooted in one thing or maybe two things. For example, you might be a student and you're learning how to play the piano, and you've been learning, like I think our learning procedure starts when we are admitted to pre-primary. So 15 years of schooling and then college, if that is one chooses to pursue college, and then maybe you started learning the piano when you were 10 and now you're 20. And when you're doing only these two things, I understand perfectionism as a concept, and I'm frankly, it's such a draining concept for me to talk about. I'm just going to skip over it in this video probably. But perfectionism as a whole, it kills the joy and the whimsy of learning altogether, I feel like. Because when, again, going back to our example, when you're doing only two things, like just playing the piano and just being a student, so those are like the two fundamental pillars of your life. If one of them crumbles, it actually results in a massive self esteem destruction. But what happens when you have multiple pillars? Maybe they are small, maybe they are thinner, but you have multiple pillars. So I have a whole disc supported by 1,000 matchsticks. So if I remove one matchstick from that structure, it might collapse based on how dear I hold it to myself, but there's a chance that it wouldn't. But if a structure is balanced on only two matchsticks, or let's say only two pens, because it's a thicker pillar than the matchsticks, right? Then if you take one out, it is surely bound to collapse. And that is when I realized that not a lot of people, they branch out on their life. Like, if they know how to dance, they will not dance because they are not perfect at it. If they know how to sing, they will not sing because they're not good at it. And by good, they just mean that they're not perfect, like they're not pitch perfect. Nobody is. Like, singers be singing on auto tune, it's not that deep. Just go ahead, sing. And I do understand that when there is a factor of competitiveness associated with it, for example, when you start viewing something as a competition, it does tend to take a lot of your time perfecting your skill. But to that, my counter argument is there are so many events that do not require you to be competitive. Starting a YouTube channel, maybe if I have that, bug in my brain which says that if I put out three videos and none of them are viral, I'll stop putting out videos. Keeping that bug aside, YouTube channel, there is no immediate competition. Like, your classmates are not going to judge you, neither are they going to compete with you. It's not a race. Similarly, let's just say singing for an example. If you're not competitively singing, there are so many open mic events. Just go and sing. Let yourself be, open to interpretation. Let yourself be open to interpretation as well as open to criticism. I know constructive criticism is the way to go, but sometimes the construction is just a filter in your brain. So if you're receiving any sort of criticism, put a grid filter and then maybe some other kind of filter like a micro filter. So if you say something that is inherently negative, it's not even a feedback, it's something like a snarky remark, filter it out totally. If it's a critical comment, but then it has some negative undertones to it, filter out the negative undertones, take the critical comment. If it's like a positive constructive criticism, then take the whole of it and move on with your life. So sometimes construction is just a filter in your head. But moving on, there are so many non competitive things that one could be doing to add joy and whimsy to their life that is not rooted in consumerism and capitalism. And we choose not to do it because, again, we are not good at it. I choose not to do it because I am not good at it. I should really start rewriting stuff because I found myself comparing to myself to everybody around me in every aspect. I'll start writing again. I'll start maybe solving the Rubik's Cube again. I had lent my Rubik's Cube to this one girl and she hasn't returned it to me in a week. I need to get my Rubik's Cube back. And I basically need to look at things away from them being like a part of my life. For example, getting up, getting ready as just like a chore, and see it as something that, I look forward to doing. I need to look forward to waking up and getting ready for college as a means of creative expression. Maybe someday you will see me wearing like a star shaped pimple patch or maybe like a graphic eyeliner to college. I don't know. At this point, I have lost my whimsy so many times and found it back that I would go to extreme lengths to preserve it, to not give in to the temptation of giving it up one more time to be nonchalant. I feel like there's such a wastage of time. But yeah, that is it. How to get rid of comparison? The answer is you cannot. Neither can I. But we can definitely channelize the envy into inspiration by making ourselves inspiring to our own selves, by doing a lot of things. Because then, when you think about it, you are a little polymath in yourself and you do a lot of things. You learn a lot of things. You're not good at it, but you do a lot of things. So there's 100% something that the other person is not doing. And even if they're doing it, they're an inspiration now, because do so much stuff that you just cannot compare yourself, because the scale, you need to, we need to solidify this fact that the scale isn't real. The number line of comparison, it isn't real. So when we solidify that using our own actions, like hobby maxing or doing a lot of stuff, then we can confidently say, yeah, comparison is probably the thief of joy, because this person might be good at studies, or person might be good at playing the piano, but I am doing so many other things. I do so many other things in such different ways. That is exactly how I reduced my, tendency to compare myself to others. And that is how I've been navigating life lately. Do I have anything to add on to it? Probably, but not at this moment. I literally need to leave for college in like 2 minutes. I have zero sense of urgency. I need to make a video about that. I need to remember that I need to make a video about that. The lighting of this video is crazy. Like, it's like lights and shadows playing on my face throughout the video, which I kind of love, but I don't think it's good for video production. Let me know what you think about it. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side, I guess. Bye, Sprouts.